Good morning, and good morning. I know I'm 2 minutes late. 2 minutes late. I swear, it seems like once it gets to be 8:59, it seems like the time just rushes past that 9 o'clock. But yeah, I was trying to talk to someone this morning, just giving them a little word of encouragement, let them know I was there for them. But life goes on. Sometimes we need more in our lives. We need more. We need more, whatever that more is. It may be more of everything that we want, but it's personal. It's a personal choice of what our more is. And so this morning I just thought about, you know, so much is required of us to remain objective and on point and in place and carrying out all the things that we need to do. And sometimes we don't even realize that what we need more of, we've never truly identified it or identified all those things that it could be. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do this morning, is really try to break it down a little bit on how life just may change. It's like what we needed yesterday, we may not need all that today. What we need tomorrow, we may not need next week. It our life is just constantly in movement. We're moving towards what else we might need to do. And so I was looking this morning at a few things. And first of all, I'm kind of dressed down. That's why I have my little shawl on here, to kind of dress down, because I'm going to go and volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House. Y'all know I can't paint, but I'm going to paint this morning. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out how to help them paint some things that they need painting at the Ronald McDonald House here in the city. So after that, I have some other stuff I want to do, but I found two poems this morning that speak to how we need to approach our more. And it says more is just that kind of area that just gives us an opportunity to look at the bridge being too long for us to go over, or the fact that we don't have a bridge to get to the other side. Both give us concern. How do we do it? How do we make it to another side? Do we walk all the way around, or do we build a bridge? Or the bridge that is there, if it's, say a 3 mile, 5 mile, 10 mile, do we walk that? Okay, if we don't have a car, those are the kind of things that we think about when we look at the more being required of us. So I found this first poem. It's by Atticus, Attacus, and it says, "Burn bridges and dance naked with your tribe on the islands that you make." That's more. Because when you think about the fact that you don't care about what others think, you're just building on what it is that you need for your own life. That's how it's done. That's your ability to say, I'm making it up as I go, and it is my journey, not yours. You may be traveling a little bit with me. Okay, maybe we're talking and we're walking together, we're riding together, we've taken a boat together. However, how we feel when we arrive, that's what we bring with us. That's our more. We may say we want more of this or less of this. I've gone places sometimes and said, that's enough. It was too much for me to do. It was too much for me to do. And this one is by Old Teenage Poems. I don't know who Old Teenage Poems is, but I like the poem. It says, wanting more of life than to live from dusk to dusk, trying to live never from love to lust, thinking that it later comes along and yesterday was overdue. We need to think forward so our dreams will come true. There is always the possibility of later, the hopings of something more, maybe the understanding of more than you are sure. It says sometimes it is prospect of later that makes the present bloom. The prospect that makes the present bloom. So we could be dreamers. We could be organizers, planners, thinkers of what is our next, what is our more. I think one of the things I do with Are You Stuck is saying, what do you need? You know, what do you need? Not what someone else needs, because a lot of times we are busy putting other needs above ourselves. And so this is definitely a personal journey of what is needed in our more. So when I look at more, it's like, what is more? More is greater or an additional amount or degree of something, whatever that may be. It talks about an increase and maybe even extra, meaning we have some, but we need more of it. I remember as a child, I was a child that loved macaroni and cheese, my mother's. Okay. So my mother would make macaroni and cheese, and she says, "Oh no, Sandra has to have the part that has a little bit of crust on top." She would do that for me. She would do that. She'd make sure that I got some. So I was the child that had a little extra thing going on. But then it's also, or more is also the spare, the further, like going further up the road, or more into your exploration, more into your discovery of who it is that you are. And more is also the new. We if we've already had a certain amount of something, we know how that may taste or feel or comfort. But if we want more of it, then that means we must experience the new of the newness that's coming in, that may be more of what we already had. We know how it is. You just know how it is. So when I break my word down this morning, I start with my M, and my M is money. And we don't need nothing else. We need money. Money is they say it's probably one of the greatest rulers of humankind, of needing tender, needing a way to pay for things that we either want or have purchased. It says money is a current medium of exchange in the form of coins and banknotes, and collectively looking at cash. What cash do we have? What funds? Capital, finance, currency, bills, banknotes, loot, bread, gravy, and moolah. When we think about, our money, it's only going to go so far, but we have to look at it as if it is a precious commodity. It's like if we spend all of our money on, today on something that's foolish, and tomorrow something that is really needed, and we need it. We need it to be working, such as something in the house. I'm always trying to encourage people to look at your bills in such a way that should it be that something happens to you, do you have enough to pay your bills, for a month or two or three? They recommend three. They recommend that you have savings, with an ability to pay for 3 months in the event that something should happen to you. That's 90 days of having something that says I can take care of myself. And I look at it that way. I didn't always, because I didn't always have the ability to do that. But as that poem says, old teenagers look at how money will work for them in the future, and not really concern themselves with what they didn't do in the past. Because let's face it, as we go forward, we become much more experienced, much more knowledgeable, much more, I would say even, hey, Leah, hi, how are you? Met her yesterday. Hey, sweetie. Good to see you in the space. A lot of my friends, it's Friday, I think they're taking off, but glad that you were able to come in, but they can look at it later, and they will. But we're talking about the word more, and how more, we need more of certain things in our lives. And I started off breaking the word down by saying we all need money. There's no way that we can operate without money. And generally, the attendants in our session will come up with other ways of saying what more they need in the area of them. They always say moolah, which is the same thing as money. But for me, when I was little, it would have been macaroni and cheese. But I'm older now, so I don't need macaroni and cheese like that anymore. I'm good with it. It says, "How are you feeling?" I feel wonderful. Thank you so much. I really do. How are you feeling? I'm so happy that you dropped in. Lots going on since I even saw you. Oh, that's cute. I see the happy emoji. A lot's going on since I talked with you. A few people I've talked with have experienced some issues that have brought them down, but I've been encouraging. That's what I do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday is try to bring an amount of encouragement there. Um, when I move further on in the world of more, hey, good morning, Maurice. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Introduce yourself to Leah. That's our new friend that stopped in this morning. But and I looking at more, we always need more in our lives. I know if you're a traveler and you traveled one time and it was so good to you, you may want to travel some more, or you've been, you like I'm a person like I could actually get so lost in a bookstore. I could go in there and stay for hours. I've always loved it. My mother said, "What the heck are you doing?" And I could go to a library and just be very comfortable and finding there's so much in a book, so much. Sometimes you get a hold of books and you say, "Never again will I read that. That was too scary, or that was too adventurous, too sexy." Whatever it is, it's just like that. But for me, I look at the more I stay around, the more I realize that I have an issue. For me, time. I'm always looking at how much time I have to do things, and how much time that prayerfully the Lord will let me live. Because I feel I have more things I want to do in the remaining time that I have here. So I'm constantly looking at my next things. When I break the word down further, hey, hey, I look at obligations. My more says that I have a lot of obligations. I really don't need more of them yet. Yet I have a lot of them. I'm obligated. And I think sometimes we realize we have many things that we're obligated to, but do we need more of them? I think more in the right direction, because some things we probably could let go of. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, my friend? Good to see you in the space. Today, our word is more. And Debbie knows I did this word about 2.5 years ago, but I woke up this morning just realizing that I need more of a few things, and I'm gonna talk about those things as I'm going through. I don't know if I need more obligations, but I feel that they need to be obligations that are done in the right way. I think a lot of times, I look at my calendar and it's crazy because I'm constantly out, obligating myself, committing to be someplace else and doing things like that. That sometimes is wear and tear on the body, and I listened to someone yesterday that really talked about the goodness of how we should take care of ourselves, how we should rest, how we should, relax, how we should really look at life so much differently than the way that we do. And so, more, I started with money. We need more money because everything is costing more, is it not? Everything is just so expensive. Manage. Yeah, we do. We need to manage our money in our lives. Thank you, Debbie. We do. Then I have obligations because I feel that it's our duty, commitment, responsibility. Sometimes we have tasks that we're required to do, accountability. I think that's very important. If we say we're going to do something, that we do it. But options is probably even better word than obligation. Options, because options also says I can opt out. Thanks, Debbie. I didn't use that one this morning, so thank you. But that one's smart. That one's a smart reply. How about when we move on in the word? I have for my R, I have rest. REST. I know that I don't get as much rest as I should. I already know that. I know that. It says cease work movement to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. I have a tendency to do harm by adding more things to my schedule. In fact, after this, I have after meeting with you all here, I'm going to volunteer at McDonald House, and I can't paint, but I'm going to do it. Then I have an appointment here at the house. They have to check something in the house here, and then I have an event over in Gulf Breeze later on tonight. So constantly doing something. Tomorrow, same thing. 3 things tomorrow, 2 things on Sunday. So yes, for me it is rest. What would you write for you? Reevaluate. I need to reevaluate my time. Hey, Lisa. He said, hey, Miss Sandy. Oh, wait a minute. It says, hey, Miss Sandy, recovering from liver surgery. I didn't know that, Lisa. Getting rest so I get back to my schedule. Yes, you have to get rest. Lisa, I'm going to call you. We'll talk to each other because I need to know how you're doing. You're such a sweet young lady. Thank you so much for tuning in during your resting period. But at least you're smart enough to rest. I'd probably be up still trying to get around, even though I had surgery. But thank you for tuning in. Reevaluate is good. Speedy recovery to you, sweetie. Oh, you're so sweet, Debbie. But for me, rest, cease work, relax, refresh oneself to recover strength. So that is definitely for Lisa, and that's for all of us, because sometimes we need to rest. We need to shut it down. Do nothing. Do nothing. Just watch a little TV. Now, most of the time, the TV's watching me because I'm doing something else. But it would be nice if it were the other way around. Good morning, Miss Rosie. How are you doing, love? Good to see you in this space. Today, our word is more. And, we're asking, what do we need more of? And I know that sometimes, it fluctuates, that we need more of this and more of that. Yeah, that's been with me. Okay, I understand, Lisa. I do. So I say with rest, it says that you relax, slow down, unwind, unbend. How many of us are bent over trying to help others? We get back to the house, we can barely move. Yes, watching TV, that's a good way to relax. That's a good way to relax. What kind of shows do you relax with? If it's too suspenseful, then I'm all in it. I'm trying to figure it out. So I like stuff like game shows where, they do all the jumping around and carrying on, and I just watch them and say, oh, they didn't know that word. And then also rest says it's idle time. You're doing nothing. You regaining your composure, and basically getting it to the point where you're just in your own comfort. That's me too, Lisa, when I'm watching TV. And then my E of my word more says elective. And that's probably one of the best words even in my whole session here. Elective says there's a choice process that goes on. That's almost like what Debbie said earlier with reevaluate, exit. Exit stage left, right? So elective says open to choice. So that's why I like that word. If I look at the more of the things that I need to talk about elective. Have I elected to do something? It says optional, not required. Okay. And I know it is required that I rest, but when I rest is optional. It is required that I'm obligated to some things, but the elective would be, when do I obligate myself, or when do I unobligate myself? Deobligate. Okay, when? I have to decide, And then it talks about in the elective, when starting with the money, it's elective to me what I do with my money. Okay, what I do with it. If it's just that I'm throwing it away, then that's not a good elective. But if it's that I'm mindful of it, making sure that as I talked earlier, of carrying it in such a way that it has value, that it's not, that its value, it has more to it than it just being thrown away. I don't want to throw my money away. I really don't. So elective says it's open to choice, optional, and not required. Something elective is optional. You can choose to do it or choose not to do it. Many of us are put in situations where you see those ads where it says, especially on Facebook, where it says, 1,500 have already sold, and we only have 5 left. Well, people rush to get the 5. Well, you think about it. If you have millions and millions of people on Facebook, why is it down to 5? They're basically, it's basically a scam approach. How do you get people to buy in to them wanting what they have, thinking that it's more of what they need? And I watch that all the time. And then I had one yesterday that said, I only had 10 minutes, and they give you a clock where it's timing down. Well, I'm done with it. It's all a business. It is, Debbie. It's all in how they do business. So really, electives is something optional. It's your choice. It is definitely temporary, and it's potential, meaning that you don't have to do it. So when we really look at more, we need to help decide for ourselves, what do we need more of? If you have one thing, each of you are online right now. If you have one thing that you can honestly say you need more of, write it in the thread right now. I'm going to tell you all, I need more rest. I already know. That's Sandy's story. That's Winnie's story. Is I know I don't get enough of it. And, it says that we should get 8 hours of sleep. I don't know. Does anyone get 8 hours of sleep? I don't know. The world ticks for us, and we're constantly out there thinking that, if something's out there, we need to be out there with it. And we don't necessarily get 8 hours. But for me, Lisa, no, you don't. Okay, you don't get 8 hours. Okay, you don't get 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, I know I don't. I should. It says we should 4 to 6 hours for me of sleep, Debbie. But you know what? Even though they give you those stats, it also says that as you get older, you just require less. You just require less sleep. And I find that to be true. But I even when I was younger, I never remember sleeping 8-10 hours unless I was sick or I was out until 4 or 5 in the morning. In New York, okay, I tell you now, that wasn't out being bad. 4 or 5 in the morning in New York that's when the clubs closed. And so we were out partying until 4 and 5. And then we went to breakfast. Then we went home. So then I would sleep longer, but it still was not 10 hours. Because by that time, everybody's calling to find out where we're going the next night. We're thinking that you need more of that again. That's when you start taking naps during the day. Absolutely. LOL. That's true, Debbie. Because I was a person that back then I would take a nap. I don't nap now. If I nap now, I won't be able to sleep at night. So I definitely do not nap. But I just look at how life changes as you get older, as you start to see you change. And then therefore your more ideas changes. What you used to want more of when you were younger, you don't want those things as much or even at all when you get older. Like I don't hang out all night. When I come in at 11 o'clock, I think it's late. So, child, and then I'd be coming here talking about it's late, coming in late at night like this, which reminds me so much of my mother. We didn't go out in New York until 10, 11 o'clock. So it wasn't like I was out a long, long time. It's that we didn't start going out until it was really late. It says you get wrinkles when with want more time. Your heart grows bigger. All the aging process. That's right. All those things happen. Deb. You're absolutely right. Everything changes with us as we age, and so what we need more of, we may not. We may need more vitamins as we age, and we may not take them. We may need more water, and we may not drink it. We may need more exercise, and we will not do it. It's like those kinds of things, which to me are kind of low hanging fruit. But you also think we may need more prayer and never do it. You know, we may need more visits to the doctor and won't go. It's the interesting things that we will take on for our more, and the more things that we need, we do less of. It's just a cycle for us. We realize that we stay away from the things that either we fear, because let's face it, we can absolutely fear the doctors. We can fear stay, like a big bill come in, we may run from it for a minute. All you do is say, oh my goodness. I had to buy some tires 3 weeks ago, and they weren't expected to be bought, but my car has to run. And then of course I go talk to somebody else, and they say, Doc, you didn't have they just sold you those tires. You really didn't need them yet. You probably, because you're only doing around town. If you were going on long trips and stuff, then yeah, you needed them, but you really were still in the safe zone. So, sometimes you have to seek people who may know more than you. There's more again, to just be wise about what it is that you need. What'd you say, Deborah? Why, who shoulda, or woulda, shoulda, coulda? Absolutely. We all have a woulda, shoulda, coulda story. All of us, no matter who we are, we always have something else that we need to do. But listen, I wasn't going to keep you long today because I knew I once again volunteered more with Ronald McDonald House, so I am going to go do that. And I'll take off this nice shawl and wear my little shirt here, showing my support of Breast Cancer Month and those who have survived. I'm going to show that, but I'm going to paint the best I can. I hope they can use and be excited about what it is that I paint, because I am not a painter. If I want something painted, I hire somebody. So there it is. Maybe they'll just let me hold the brushes and look like I'm painting. I'm not wise, but look, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Do something constructive for yourself in the area of more that makes sense. Now, I didn't say more for others this weekend. Maybe find a couple of hours where you give to them and the rest you hold to yourself. Maybe rest a little bit more. Maybe just look at TV a little bit more. Maybe take a walk. Do something for you and only you. Okay? I'm going to see you on Monday. I will have another word, and I'm going to ask you, are you stuck? And yes, you may be or you may not be, but you can certainly contribute to the conversation. I love you guys. I appreciate you all for coming in. Yes. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Debbie, Leah. Let's see. There was some other, Maurice. And I have people that watch. Miss Rosie, I have a lot of people that watch later on after we're finished. But listen, you all be safe out there, okay? Be safe, have fun, and do more only if you want to. Okay? See you then. Bye-bye. Have a good